He didn't tell our vice president properly, and then he said he didn't remember. So either way, it wasn't very satisfactory to me.
Welcome to the Notes Blog, always question, always explore. Right now we're right here at the beginning of a protest happening right down there. But before we get to that, Michael Flynn has been asked to resign, and so he has stepped down. That has come from his previous communication with Russian state officials, and that violates the Logan Act, because back then he was still a private citizen, and private citizens are not allowed to do any type of foreign transaction or decide foreign policy with foreign officials. Trump says that it's because of the erosion of trust. However, Sally Yates, who was the acting attorney general, already sent this information that Mike Flynn was not only misleading the FBI with his interaction with Russian officials. That happened about 3 weeks ago, going on to a month before. The question comes into whether or not there was really an erosion of trust, or if things are too hot right now, it's time for you to go away. And other news, you also have the replacement also kind of like bowing out.
Is that retired Vice Admiral Robert Harwood, who was a candidate to replace Michael Flynn as National Security Advisor. He has turned down that offer, so the help wanted sign is still hanging in the window at the National Security Advisor's office here at the White House tonight.
On top of that, you have, so there's kind of a crazy thing, the press conference that he just did.
I know this is going to be a bad question, but that's okay. Good.
Everyone wants to talk about April Ryan, who is a very seasoned White House correspondent for Urban Radio.
What will be that fix and your urban agenda, as well as your HBCU executive order that's coming out this afternoon? See, it wasn't bad, was it?
Trump seemed a little bit incredulous and defensive in his response.
Are you going to include the Congressional Black Caucus and the Congressional
Well, I
Hispanic
would.
Caucus,
I tell you what, do you want to set up the meeting? Do you want to set up the meeting?
It was more or less him saying, well, why don't you set it up then? Which is kind of a little bit crazy, because the Congressional Black Caucus, they tweeted at Trump stating they sent a letter to him back in January 19th.
There will be an executive order on HBCUs later this month. And what we're hearing is that they're going to take the HBCU initiative out of the purview of the Department of Education and place it under the purview of the White House. The CBC is very concerned about that. They feel that they've carried the ball on that for many years, and they should be involved in these issues as well.
Should Americans trust you?
Well, no, I was given that
information.
I was just given. We had a very, very big margin.
So there's a lot of like he said, she said, and then there's what actually happened, and there's verifiable truth. Trump also wanted to claim that he had the largest electoral win in history of the United States. That again is not true. Reporters actually fact-checked him on that at the press conference.
Said today that you had the biggest electoral margin since Ronald Reagan with 304, 306 electoral votes. In fact, President Obama got 365 and George H.W. Bush 426. I guess my question is, why should Americans trust you when you accuse the information they receive of being fake when you're providing information that's
Well, I was given that information.
And you also have Scott Pruitt being nominated for the head of the EPA. This is someone who's been a long time foe of the EPA, as he was Attorney General of Oklahoma. Attorney General's office used potassium acetate as opposed to potassium chloride for the lethal injections because they ran out and they didn't want to waste the money. He initially denied it until there's an investigation that was done by the Oklahoma governor, and then he finally admitted to that. In more relation to how there might be a conflict of interest, then you gotta look at the 3,000 emails that are finally approved to be released by an Oklahoma federal judge.
Federal judge yesterday in Oklahoma ordered Scott Pruitt to start turning over thousands of pages of correspondence between his office and oil and gas companies from the time when he's been Attorney General of Oklahoma. Because of that, Senate Democrats tried to postpone the confirmation vote, right? Wait until everybody can look and see what Scott Pruitt said to those oil and gas companies that he's been illegally trying to keep secret for 2 years. Senate Republicans said no. No, we're not waiting.
But the vote is happening right now as we speak. So we'll see what happens. It's a little bit of a crazy thing, but as always question, always explore. Thanks.